I'll start tomorrow. You said it, right? I know I have. It's probably one of the most common promises we make, not to other people, but to ourselves. And there's this weird comfort in those words, isn't there? It's like a gentle release, a quiet permission slip to just stop. So let's get into that feeling, this universal experience of putting things off, and really look at what's going on in that space we create between today and that tomorrow that always seems just out of reach.
You know, the second you make that decision, this incredible calm just settles over you. The world, which felt like it was buzzing with a million demands and deadlines just a moment ago, suddenly goes completely silent. It's this strange peace that feels like you've earned it, even though you haven't actually done anything. It creates a stillness that's almost, well, a little too still, a silence that's a little too deep.
And this is where it gets really fascinating, because what you're really doing is creating this powerful illusion. It honestly feels like you found a loophole in the laws of physics. By promising your future self will deal with it, your present self gets a total free pass. It's almost as if you could reach out and literally stop the clock, creating this little pocket of time that exists totally outside of responsibility and consequence.
And look, it is a beautiful illusion, but let's be real. That's all it is, an illusion. Because while you might stop looking at the clock, time itself definitely doesn't stop. And that task you've pushed aside, it doesn't just vanish into thin air, it waits. So that leads us to the really important question. What's a promise to tomorrow worth when today is just left empty, waiting?
So this is where things start to shift. That perfect, cool silence, yeah, it doesn't last. At first, you can barely even notice it. It's not something you see, it's not a sound you hear, it's just a feeling, a distant warmth right on the edge of your senses.
It might feel a little something like this, just a subtle change in the atmosphere. That undone task starts to, radiate its own kind of energy. It's not aggressive, it's not demanding anything. It's more like a background hum, a low-grade warmth in a room that you know should be cool. And yeah, it's really easy to ignore, at first. And this idea brings us to the very core of our explainer today, which comes from a source that captures this whole sensation with just one single repeating word, heat. Now on the surface, heat is just that, a sensation. But psychologically, it's the unmistakable signature of rising pressure. It's a known phenomenon where our brains just refuse to let go of an unfinished task. That task stays active, buzzing away in the back of our minds, generating its own quiet energy, its own heat. And you can probably guess what happens next. That distant warmth? Well, it doesn't stay distant for very long. What starts as this gentle little glow, it inevitably starts to intensify. The peace and quiet grace period is officially over, and the pressure starts to build for real.
And the way this progresses is just so perfect. First, it's happening outside of you. You see it like a shimmering heat haze on the horizon, just slightly distorting the world around you. Then, it starts getting closer. You begin to notice its effects. That wilting leaf on a plant right there in your room. The pressure isn't just out there anymore. And finally, it becomes part of you. A single bead of sweat. The pressure is now internal. It's personal.
Now get this, in the source material for this explainer, the word heat appears 20 times. 20. Just think about that for a second. It's not just a description anymore, it's like a chant. It's the sound of that relentless, nagging, repetitive thought about the thing you know you should be doing. That quiet hum from before has grown into a persistent, inescapable pulse.
And that pulse just keeps getting stronger, and the warmth keeps rising, until it's not even warmth anymore. Now it's a suffocating, oppressive force. This is the moment of crisis. This is the boiling point.
And then that's it. It's all you can feel. It's not a background thought anymore. It is the only thought. Heat. The pressure of what hasn't been done. Heat. The anxiety of time running out. Heat. The crushing weight of your own promise. It all builds into this overwhelming, frantic wave of heat, heat, heat. A crescendo of pressure that just blots out everything else.
This right here is the absolute peak of that anxiety-fueled paralysis. It's that state of intense discomfort, knowing you should be acting, but choosing inaction instead. The pressure gets so intense that doing anything at all feels impossible. And here's the paradox. The sheer weight of not doing the task is now way more exhausting than doing it ever would have been. You're trapped, frozen in a moment where everything just feels like it's warping and melting under the strain. But nothing can burn that hot forever. Eventually, the peak has to pass. The fever breaks. The overwhelming pressure finally subsides, but it leaves something else in its wake, an echo of heat.
So after that storm of anxiety, the quiet comes back. But it's not the peaceful, serene quiet from the beginning. Oh no, this is an empty quiet. The air is cool again, but the landscape is barren. Why? Because after all that stress, all that heat and pressure, absolutely nothing has changed. The task is still there.
So the cycle ends right where it began. The pressure is gone, for now, but the promise to yourself is still there. You're back in a moment of calm, but you know the warmth will return. Which leaves all of us with one final, lingering question, doesn't it? When does tomorrow finally arrive?
Thanks for watching. If you liked it, smash that like button, drop a comment, share with your crew, and subscribe. Hit the bell so you never miss a daily update. See you next time.